Chaos Linked. Book 1. Deep Breaths. Chapter 15. Light. The afternoon sun spills through the kitchen window, warm and golden. The house is quiet in that peaceful kind of way. Distant birdsong outside and the low hum of the refrigerator. Maddie stands by the counter, sorting through a grocery list with a pencil tucked behind one ear. She looks up, smiling when she sees Sonic pad into the room, stretching his arms over his head with a satisfied yawn.
Hey baby. I was about to head out for groceries. Want to come with?
Sonic's ears perk up fast.
Absolutely!
The answer is immediate, pure instinct. He grins, already imagining zipping down the aisles, picking out snacks, helping Maddie speed through the store with style.
That sounds awesome!
But he stops. His smile falters a little. His hand hovers near the front door, frozen halfway between movement and memory. The link hums. It's faint but present. Not painful, but a reminder that it could be if he strays too far. Sonic glances over his shoulder, back toward the living room toward the hallway beyond, where Shadow is still resting. Maddie watches him carefully, noticing the way his shoulders stiffen.
I can't go without him, can I?
The question isn't really for her. He already knows the answer. Maddie walks closer and places a gentle hand on his shoulder. Sonic exhales slowly, running a hand through his quills.
Oh, I forgot for a second. It felt normal, you know? Like old times.
It is normal. It's just a new kind of normal.
Maddie says, squeezing his shoulder. He nods, then cracks a lopsided smile.
Guess I'm not exactly solo anymore, huh?
No,
She agrees, nudging him gently with a smile of her own.
but you're not stuck either. You've got someone who's just as tethered to you as you are to him.
Sonic glances toward the hall again, softer now.
Just for now. Until he's ready to come with us one day.
Maddie tousles his quills as she passes.
Then I'll bring you back something good, okay? A surprise.
He grins again, brighter this time.
If it's not chili dogs, we're going to have a serious talk.
Duly noted.
As she heads out the door, Sonic lingers at the threshold for just a moment longer, feeling the sunlight warm his fur, feeling the link hum quietly beneath his chest like a second heartbeat. He doesn't feel stuck. The ring storage room hums with faint, cold light, the walls lined with racks upon racks of the golden portals, silent, still, waiting. The air smells faintly of metal and dust, a remnant of a place that had once been built on control. Tom stands quietly near the door, his arms folded but his expression open. He's not rushing, not pushing, just waiting. Sonic stands a little closer to Shadow, glancing up at him now and then but saying nothing. He knows this isn't his moment to guide. It's Shadow's. Shadow steps forward, the soles of his shoes barely making a sound against the smooth floor. His hands clench briefly at his sides, then relax. He stares at the racks of rings, something dark flickering behind his eyes.
They use these.
He says quietly, voice rough around the edges. Tom shifts, listening. Sonic leans in subconsciously, the link between them humming faintly with Shadow's tangled emotions.
I remember it. After Maria. After she... A suppression field stretched across the whole facility. I could barely stand. And still, they hit me with electricity. Stunned me.
The memory is vivid enough to crack through the years like it was yesterday. Sonic's ears lower, his hands balling slightly at his sides. He can feel the crackle of old pain bleeding through the link.
They used a ring. They didn't even look at me. Just activated a ring portal and sent me here. To Prison Island. To this place.
Shadow says, his mouth twisting slightly.
Then they buried me under their concrete and forgot me. I thought Maria had just been hurt at first, but then reality caught up to me with nightmares.
The room feels too small to hold everything Shadow just laid bare. The silence afterward aches. Tom steps forward not to correct or question but to witness. His hand finds Sonic's shoulder, grounding him, and after a second, he offers the same silent support to Shadow. Sonic swallows past the burning in his throat. The link between him and Shadow pulses gently, an echo of grief but also of trust. Shadow closes his eyes for a moment, steadying himself. Then slowly, purposefully, he raises his hand. Chaos energy curls around his fingers like mist, soft but unstoppable. He lets the thought rise from somewhere deeper than memory. The rings begin to shimmer, their gold fading into pale light. They lift off the racks in delicate spirals, dissolving into the air like dandelion seeds caught in the wind. Sonic watches in awe, heart pounding. Not because of destruction. One by one, the rings vanish. Silent. Peaceful. The storage racks stand empty now, stripped of their burden. The whole room feels different, as if a wall that had been closing in for 50 years finally gave way. Shadow exhales, the glow receding back into his chest. Shadow lifts his gaze, something fragile, something new flickering behind his eyes. Tom rests his hand on Shadow's shoulder, firm and grounding.
You made your choice, and we're proud of you.
Shadow truly hadn't expected the person he attacked to forgive him, even though the two people he cares about most in this world had assured him otherwise, but Tom had. Sonic and Maria were right. For the first time in a long time, Shadow lets the weight drop from his shoulders. The room is no longer a prison, just a place. The morning light melts across the hills. The air feels heavier here, but not in a way that suffocates. Feels full. Waiting. Sonic stands in the grass, feeling the soft pull of the earth beneath him, the steady thrum of their energies humming deep inside his ribs. Beside him, Shadow is a silent anchor, his arms loose at his sides, his gaze fixed somewhere beyond the horizon. Knuckles lingers a few feet away, stiff and unmoving, his fists clenching and unclenching like he's fighting a battle without words. The silence stretches between them. Finally, Knuckles shifts, stepping forward, his shoes scuffing against the earth. He looks down at his hands and then at Sonic and Shadow. His throat works around the words.
The Master Emerald. I can't hold it. I can't protect it. Not anymore.
Sonic doesn't move. He just watches, heart open.
That's not true, Knux.
Knuckles stares at him a moment longer, and something cracks in his expression. Something raw and aching. Slowly, Knuckles lifts one hand. Sonic's breath catches momentarily in his chest as Knuckles reaches out, hovering uncertainly in front of him, his palm trembling slightly.
Think of it like this. At least you won't have to worry about us leaving it in coolers at the baseball field anymore. You and Wade can still guard them. We can still keep our oath. Just a little differently. You're guarding the emeralds by guarding us.
Shadow doesn't say anything. He doesn't need to. His hands stay steady, keeping Knuckles' palms pressed to both their hearts. After a long moment, Knuckles exhales a deep, shuddering breath that seems to release years of weight from his shoulders.
I trust you, both of you. The emeralds chose you too.
He says with a small smile. Then, with all the care in the world, Knuckles lays his hand against Sonic's chest, right over the heartbeat where the chaos hums strongest. First, nothing happens. Then Shadow steps forward too, and gently lifts Knuckles' other hand in his own. Without a word, Shadow presses Knuckles' palm over his own chest, right over the mirrored pulse of energy buried inside him. Knuckles stands there, hands spread over both of them, and for the first time he feels it. Truly feels it. The heartbeat of the emeralds. Alive inside them. Woven into them. Not trapped. Not stolen. Chosen. Sonic watches him quietly, his throat tight, the world holding its breath around them. Knuckles closes his eyes, head bowed slightly between them. The wind moves through the grass like a quiet chorus, like a prayer carried into the rising light. Sonic feels Shadow's presence brush gently against him through the link and he smiles, a small true thing. With Knuckles' hands resting over their hearts, they make a new oath. One not bound by duty alone, but by choice, by family, by trust. Now it's just the two of them and the silence that lingers. The lights above the stasis pod hum softly, casting a faint glow across the empty lab. The glass walls still glint with fractured reflections, echoes of what was almost lost. Sonic stands near the control panel, arms crossed loosely over his chest, watching as Shadow steps forward. Tom, Maddie, Tails, and Knuckles are gone. The ring portal has closed behind them, a golden shimmer swallowed by silence. But Sonic and Shadow hadn't followed. Not yet.
We just want to take care of a few things first.
Sonic had said, already feeling a hint of what Shadow has in mind. The others don't need to have a link to know that something is heavy in the air, weighing on Shadow's heart. He has another choice to make now. Shadow's hand is outstretched, a low pulse of energy coiling around his fingers like smoke, red and silver threads flickering against the sterile light. His eyes burn, brighter than they have in days, but there's something else behind them too. Pain. Determination, especially now that he has the power to change everything with just a simple thought.
I can erase it all, not just the rings. Every memory. Every trace. No one at Kung will remember us. Not you. Not me. Not anything.
The stasis pod gleams behind him, restored whole again because of what they are now. Because of the energy still thrumming through their souls. Sonic steps closer, heart tight in his chest. As he moves, a flood of emotion slams into him through the link so sudden and raw that he nearly stumbles. He squeezes his eyes shut for half a second, breathing against the weight of it, feeling Shadow's anguish coil tightly around his own heart like a vine pulling too hard. He clenches his fists briefly, forcing himself to stay relaxed even as the strength of Shadow's emotions threatens to sweep his feet out from under him.
They'll come for us again. You know they will. If we leave anything behind. If they even remember one detail, they'll rebuild, restart, find new ways to use us. Or worse.
His hand lifts higher. The energy sparks. The air shivers.
I can end it.
No.
Sonic's voice is firm, but there's a rough edge to it, born from the storm swirling inside him. Shadow freezes. Sonic steps forward until they are inches apart. The air between them vibrates, thick with grief, with the desperate plea neither of them has the words for.
Please, don't do this.
They hurt you. They put you in that pod and sedated you like they did me. They shot you.
I know.
Sonic says, and the link between them throbs with the memory of him being shot. Tears spill freely down Shadow's face, and the light in his hand flickers like a candle struggling against a storm.
I can't let them do it again.
I know.
Sonic says again, his hand reaching up without hesitation. He lays a palm gently over Shadow's trembling hand, grounding him even as the energy flares sharply under his touch.
But we're not them, Shadow. We're not Kyle. We don't erase people's memories. We don't take away their choices, no matter what they've done.
It's not likely, but Gun can still change. Change for the better. It won't be able to do that if Shadow erases everything that has to do with Gun.
They would have killed you. They almost did.
Shadow chokes out, his entire body trembling. Sonic breathes calmly, and the emotions crashing through the link squeeze painfully against his chest until he can barely stand.
But if we erase that, we lose ourselves.
Shadow shakes his head desperately, fresh tears trailing down his muzzle.
You don't understand. I almost lost you.
You didn't. You saved me. You brought me back. That's who you are. Not this.
Sonic says fiercely, tightening his hand around Shadow's. The energy between them trembles, then softens. The sparking light fades into a soft glow. Shadow's breath catches on a broken sob he barely manages to swallow down. And then he breaks. Not violently, not loudly, but completely. His body shudders once, twice, and then collapses forward into Sonic's arms, knocking Sonic back a step under the sheer, overwhelming weight of it. The force of Shadow's grief, his love, his terror of losing him floods through Sonic so completely that for a heartbeat he almost sinks to his knees. Sonic tightens his arms around him instead, bracing them both against the fragile wreckage of the moment.
You're not alone. Not anymore. We'll face whatever happens together.
Sonic breathes against Shadow's shoulder, tears pricking his own eyes. Shadow's fingers clutch desperately at Sonic's fur, and the chaos inside him, so wild and dangerous before, finally settles. Soft, gentle, like the steady heartbeat of something beginning again. No vengeance, no erasure, only healing, only choice, only the unshakable promise that they will never let the world make them monsters even when they hold infinite power to change reality. Not while they still have each other. The kitchen is quiet, filled with the faint clink of a spoon tapping against a ceramic bowl. Shadow sits at the table, posture relaxed for once, one elbow propped casually as he lifts another spoonful of vanilla ice cream to his mouth. The cold hits his tongue sweet, smooth, rich, and it's like unlocking a memory sealed in frost. He's familiar with this. He knows this. Not since Maria used to sneak him little cartons of vanilla at the gun base has he tasted anything quite like it. She'd grin like she was getting away with a grand crime, and Shadow had always played along, letting her believe it. He hasn't had any in 50 years. Now the flavor is the same, but it feels different. He's different. Tails sits across from Shadow, nibbling on a chocolate chip cookie. He's flipping lazily through a magazine filled with diagrams of flight gear, and next to the magazine is an empty notebook just waiting to be filled. Every so often, he glances at Shadow, quietly amused by the contrast between the hardened hedgehog and the bowl of melting vanilla ice cream. The kitchen light pools softly around him. The house is quiet. Tom and Maddie are cleaning up in another room, and Sonic's in the living room, sprawled on the couch with a blanket tossed over his legs, watching a rerun of Speed yet again. Shadow takes another bite. A piercing bolt of cold drills straight up the roof of his mouth, exploding behind his eyes like lightning. He jolts frozen mid-bite, eyes wide. A sharp, unrelenting chill lances through his skull like a white-hot spike of ice. Across the house, Sonic lets out a yelp. He bolts upright on the couch, gripping his head.
God, what the heck?
Tom peeks around the corner.
Sonic? Brain freeze! Ow! Ow! Ow!
Sonic groans, clutching his temples. Back in the kitchen, Shadow has dropped the spoon, gripping the edge of the table with both hands, head lowered, jaw clenched. Sonic stumbles into the kitchen, still rubbing his head.
Did you just eat ice cream?
Vanilla.
Sonic throws his arms up.
You gave me a brain freeze without even sharing?
Tails bursts out laughing.
You two are something else.
Knuckles enters from the hallway, holding a massive bowl of ice cream topped with an alarming number of grapes. He sits down at the table like this is completely normal.
You two are weak. Grapes help. They balance the cold.
He says flatly, scooping up a spoonful. Sonic stares at him.
Again with the grapes on ice cream. That's disgusting.
Tom walks in, holding a dish towel. He raises an eyebrow.
Do I want to know?
Sonic points a finger at Shadow accusingly.
He betrayed me. With dessert.
Shadow doesn't say anything, but there's the faintest twitch at the corner of his mouth. Sonic sighs dramatically and slides into the chair across from Shadow.
Next time, eat it slowly. Or even better, share.
Shadow pushes the bowl toward him in silent offering. Sonic grins, then winces.
Not yet. Still recovering.
Tails hops down from his stool, grinning wide.
I'm putting that one in the notebook. Link brain freeze feedback. It's a thing now.
They sit in silence for a moment, the kitchen wrapped in warm light and the soft echo of dishes clinking in the distance. Shadow picks up his spoon again, this time slower. He can almost hear Maria's laugh echo faintly in the back of his mind. And somehow, that makes it taste even sweeter. Later that night, the living room hums with a gentle, easy kind of chaos as they watch Sonic's favorite movie for the 100th time.
You sound just like Keanu.
I do not.
You do too.
Maddie, walking past with a blanket in her arms, pauses mid-step and grins down at Sonic. Without warning, she swoops in and digs her fingers lightly into his sides, right where she knows he's most ticklish. Sonic lets out a startled shriek and thrashes instinctively, trying to squirm away without falling off the couch but getting tangled in the blanket. He cries sharply, his voice cracking into a helpless giggle as he flails wildly. Maddie just laughs and keeps going, mercilessly wiggling her fingers into his ribs, his stomach, chasing him across the carpet as he tries to roll away. And at the exact same moment, Shadow jolts like a live wire. He feels the sensation as if Maddie's fingers are tickling him directly, even though she's not actually touching him. His arms twitch. His mouth twitches. His entire body rebels against him. And then without warning, he breaks. Laughter explodes out of him sharp, raw, unguarded, pouring from his chest in uncontrollable bursts. It feels like the strangest, most ridiculous betrayal. His own body folding under a touch that isn't even physically there. His whole frame curls inward like he's trying to protect himself from an invisible tickle, but it's hopeless. He clutches his middle, tears springing to his eyes, laughter racking him so hard he can barely breathe. Sonic freezes mid-squirm, wide-eyed. Maddie yanks her hands back, startled. They both stare at Shadow like he's just started speaking another language. Maddie instantly realizes what's going on, continuing to tickle her son. Shadow tries desperately to compose himself, grabbing the edge of the couch with shaking fingers like it'll somehow anchor him. But the laughter keeps coming, rich and unfiltered, spilling out like a dam has broken somewhere deep inside. His cheeks are hot, his chest aches, his throat burns from trying to hold it in, and none of it matters because it feels too good to stop. Sonic pushes himself up onto his knees, laughing too hard now to even be mad.
Well, I get what you did.
He gasps, pointing accusingly at Maddie between hiccuped giggles. Maddie claps her hands over her mouth, laughing too, her eyes wide.
Oh my gosh, I broke him.
You better fix him before he short-circuits.
Another helpless bark of laughter bursts out of him, and then he topples clean off the couch. Shadow hits the floor with a graceless thud, curling into himself as the laughter pours out in loud, unguarded waves. He clutches his sides, kicking slightly as he tries to breathe through the uncontrollable, electric sensation still sparking through the link. Sonic freezes mid-squirm, staring wide-eyed from the carpet. Maddie yelps and pulls her hands back, her mouth dropping open in shock. For a second, nobody moves. Then Sonic shoves himself upright, shoulders shaking with barely restrained giggles. Maddie claps both hands over her mouth, her eyes wide and horrified, and then she bursts out laughing too.
I didn't mean to. Oh my gosh, Shadow, I'm so sorry.
Tom peeks around the corner from the kitchen, holding a mug.
Is this safe to come in now, or is everyone getting tackled?
Shadow tries to get up, he really does, but another peal of laughter seizes him and he collapses back to the floor, gasping for air. His whole body shakes. His chest aches from laughing so hard. Tears leak from the corners of his tightly squeezed eyes, and he doesn't even try to wipe them away. Sonic flops down beside him, snorting helplessly. Shadow manages a shaky breath, still giggling under it, and cracks one watery eye open.
Your mother is dangerous.
He pants out between laughs. Maddie drops onto her knees beside them both, still laughing but gentling a little. She smooths Sonic's quills with one hand and reaches out tentatively toward Shadow, who flinches not from fear, but from pure lingering laughter that ripples down his spine at the mere threat of another touch.
Truce?
Maddie says quickly, holding both palms up. Shadow stares at her, breathing hard, and then nods shakily. Shadow wipes at his face with trembling hands, trying to catch his breath, his chest heaving with the force of it all. His cheeks are wet, he doesn't know if it's from the laughter or from something bigger, something he can't even name. Sonic flops down beside him on the couch with a soft thump, bumping his shoulder against Shadow's.
You good shots?
Sonic asks, his voice still wobbly from laughing but soft at the edges, full of something real. Shadow sucks in a shaky breath. His voice, when it comes, is rough around the edges.
I've never laughed like that before.
The admission cracks something open between them. Sonic's smile fades into something gentler, something smaller but no less bright. He leans a little closer, like shielding him from the rest of the world.
Good, now you can.
The movie flickers forgotten on the TV. The world spins on outside the windows. But here in the small golden space between heartbeat and breath, there is only laughter, and the feeling of home stitched quietly between them. And for the first time, Shadow doesn't push it away. The living room dims when the movie is over. Tails and Knuckles are already in bed in the attic, but Sonic and Shadow are curled together, their bodies tangled in a tangle of blue and black fur, limbs overlapping like they'd been born to fit this way. Ozzy is nestled in the middle of them, the golden retriever stretched out long and warm across both of their laps, his head resting on Shadow's thigh. His tail gives the occasional content thump against the cushion. Sonic is already out, his cheek squished against Ozzy's back, a soft wheeze of breath slipping past his mouth. One of his arms drapes protectively around Sonic, but the other is buried deep in Ozzy's fur, fingers curled tight like he's holding onto something precious. His breathing is slow, controlled, like he's trying not to let go too fast. Ozzy shifts just a little, groaning softly in his sleep, and Shadow finally exhales. He lets his eyes close all the way and melts fully into the couch, the last of his tension dissolving as he nuzzles slightly into the golden fur under his chin. A moment later, soft footsteps approach the doorway. Tom leans in first, barefoot and quiet, Maddie right behind him. He stops when he sees them and raises a hand to steady her before she bumps into his back. And then he just stares. Sonic, wrapped in sleep, Shadow curled protectively beside him, both of them half buried in the soft fluff of their family dog like it's the only thing anchoring them to this plane of existence. But it's Shadow who surprises them.
Oh my gosh.
Maddie whispers, hand over her mouth. Tom glances at her and grins.
Get your phone.
She's already pulling it out. There's a soft click followed by another, Maddie trying to capture the angle where Shadow's fingers are still curled tight in Ozzy's fur, Sonic's quills pressed against the dog's side, both of them looking impossibly peaceful.
I'm framing this,
she whispers. Tom just shakes his head, eyes warm.
They're gonna deny this ever happened.
Well, now they can't,
Maddie says with a smirk, holding her phone tighter. And still, on the couch, neither Sonic nor Shadow stirs. Ozzy just gives one sleepy tail wag in agreement.
They're out cold.
Tom whispers, smiling faintly. Maddie nods.
I'll take Sonic. You've got Shadow?
Tom steps forward carefully, arms moving with practiced ease. He leans down and scoops Shadow into his arms, strong but gentle, like he remembers doing in the cave. One of his hands stays curled lightly in the golden fur of Ozzy's back for a second longer before slipping free. Otherwise, Shadow doesn't stir, his weight folding easily against Tom's chest and subconsciously gripping his shoulder. At the same time, Maddie crouches beside Sonic, brushing a few quills from his face before lifting him. He murmurs faintly, nuzzling closer into her shoulder as she gathers him up, his blanket still tangled around his legs. Together, they carry them up the attic stairs, one careful step at a time, their footsteps soft against the wood. Tails is already fast asleep in his airplane-shaped bed. Knuckles sprawls in his monster truck bed on the opposite side of Sonic's bed, one arm draped over the side like he passed out mid-battle. Maddie carries Sonic over, lays him down and tucks the covers over him gently. He shifts slightly, then stills, his breath soft and even. Tom, meanwhile, turns toward the final bed, now positioned right in between Sonic and Tails. It's a new addition. Moon-themed bed glimmers subtly like quiet starlight, curved in smooth arcs like orbit paths or satellites. The headboard is etched with a soft constellation pattern, and above it, a mobile hangs. A delicate ring of planets and stars that spin slowly when the air moves. In the center, nestled in the frame's core, the bed's surface is shaped like a lunar cradle, lined with deep navy blankets that shimmer faintly like nebulae. On the pillow, a tiny stitched letter M rests near the seam. Tom lowers Shadow into it, careful not to jostle him. He brushes back a stray lock of fur, and for a moment just watches him breathe. Shadow stirs slightly, but not from distress. His brow smooths and his shoulders soften. His hand curls against the star-patterned blanket. Maddie steps back from Sonic's bed. She joins him in the center of the attic, and together they look around at the space. The whole room feels held by warmth, by memory, by something newly growing between these four souls. Tom rests his hand lightly on Shadow's shoulder. Maddie squeezes Sonic's hand one last time. Then they head downstairs, leaving the attic bathed in starlight and silence, and the hum of something whole.
The air is crisp and pine-scented in the sheltered woods behind the Wachowskis' home. Quiet, peaceful, a world away from sterile labs and glowing containment pods. Morning sunlight filters through the tall trees, casting golden shafts across the mossy ground where birds chirp lazily and the occasional breeze stirs the leaves. For once, there's no emergency. No countdown. No weapons or sedatives or orders barked over intercoms. Just a warm spring morning and a clearing full of old tree stumps, rocks, and overgrown roots. And Knuckles. Standing in the middle of it all, fists clenched, muscles tense, expression dead serious.
It worked before. I hit the man of eggs hard enough, and the emeralds flew right out of him.
He says, his eyes narrowing at Shadow. Shadow, arms folded, regards him with an expression of pure deadpan disbelief.
I am not Robotnik. And we have punched the emeralds out of each other before as well.
He adds, glancing over quickly at Sonic, who flashes an awkward smile.
No, you're worse. You keep them.
I contain them. There's a difference.
From the other side of the clearing, Sonic lounges against the gnarled roots of an old oak, one arm tucked behind his head, the other tossing a pine cone lazily up and down. He perks up instantly at the tension in the air. Before anyone can react, Knuckles surges forward with a primal yell, leaping off the ground with far more intensity than necessary for a test. His fist arcs through the air like a meteor and slams into Shadow's chest. There's a shockwave of force. Leaves blast outward from the impact. Birds flee the canopy in a flurry of startled wings. The ground shudders. Shadow doesn't move. Not even an inch. His feet remain firmly planted, his head dips just slightly with the weight of the punch. Sonic, however, does move.
Oh! Why would you do that?
He flinches violently from his spot under the tree, the pinecone flying from his hand.
Again with the punching?
He shouts, pressing a hand over his own chest with a wheeze.
What did I ever do to deserve this?
Tails, who's been sitting cross-legged on a log nearby with a notebook half open on his lap, doesn't even flinch. He just opens his notebook and grins, watching like it's the best morning cartoon he's ever seen.
Technically, keeping a link means you kinda did sign up for shared physical trauma.
Sonic exhales slowly through his nose, rubbing the spot on his chest where Knuckles had hit Shadow.
Good means we're getting somewhere.
Knuckles says, already preparing for round 2.
No.
Now Shadow growls, grabbing Knuckles' wrist before the echidna can swing again.
It means we're done.
Sonic staggers upright, still rubbing his chest.
Next time you try to liberate the emeralds, how about not hitting the guy I'm tethered to?
Knuckles tilts his head thoughtfully.
So hit you next time?
No! I thought you were okay with this now. Nox!
They did create a new oath after all. An oath that Knuckles had seemed to be accepting of until now. Tails snorts a laugh and flips to a clean page.
I'm going to need a whole new section for combat-induced blink feedback.
As the breeze settles and the birds return, the woods are quiet again except for Knuckles muttering about how it should have worked, Sonic dramatically massaging his chest, and Shadow silently vowing to never stand still around Knuckles again. Just another peaceful day in the backyard with their new older brother. The night stretches endless above them, a sea of silver stars casting a soft glow across the open fields. Sonic and Shadow race side by side through the grass, their feet barely touching the earth, the wind pulling at their fur, their hearts pounding in perfect rhythm. The cool air fills their lungs sharp and bright, and every breath feels like a promise kept. They don't speak. They don't need to. Every glance, every shift in the link between them says enough. The ground rushes by in a blur of green and silver. The horizon bends away from them as they chase the edge of the world itself. Not because they're running from anything, but because they finally can. Because they want to. The energy inside them hums, not wild or chaotic, but tuned to the shape of their shared freedom as they run together. Sonic grins, his chest burning with something that isn't exhaustion but pure, unfiltered joy. He angles his body, catching a glance at Shadow from the corner of his eye. For a second he thinks he sees it, a real smile pulling at the edges of Shadow's mouth. The sight pushes Sonic faster and Shadow surges forward too, matching him, the link between them stretching and sparking like a river of gold and silver twining through the night. The stars spill above them bright and endless. The cool earth races beneath them. It feels like the world has fallen away, leaving only this, the sound of breath, the rush of air, the wild thunder of life racing through their veins. Shadow matches his pace. He always does. But something catches in his throat. It starts as a sting behind his eyes, barely noticeable at first. Then it swells quiet, sharp, unstoppable. His chest tightens, not with pain, but with the overwhelming surge of feeling that rises through him like a flood. He can't hold it back. He doesn't want to. Tears blur the stars. He blinks them away, but they keep coming, soft and silent, streaking down his face as he runs. Not from sorrow, not from fear, but from joy so fierce it carves straight through the walls he thought would never break. Because this is real. Because Sonic stayed. because he stayed, because he's not alone, because he's free. Shadow wipes at his face with the back of his hand, feeling the tears still clinging stubbornly to his fur. The link thrums with the same fragile wonder inside Sonic, the two of them tangled in a feeling too big for words. He tips his head back, gazing up at the stars. The same stars Maria used to point out to him when they were still small, still innocent. The same stars they both used to wish on. The same stars that watched her fall and him survive. A lump rises in his throat, thick and bittersweet.
I wish you could see me now.
He thinks, blinking hard against the burn in his eyes.
Free. Alive. Laughing, running.
The thought presses close to his ribs, heavy with aching love. But when he closes his eyes, he doesn't feel alone. He feels her. Not in body, not in voice, but in the warmth still cradling his soul. The way the link between him and Sonic carries a new kind of hope through every beat of his heart. Maria is here. She's in the stars. She's in the wind brushing his quills. She's in the joy that finally doesn't hurt to hold. Shadow breathes out a shaky laugh, one hand pressed lightly over his heart. And somehow he knows. She's proud. When Sonic finally tumbles into the grass, laughing breathless, Shadow slows and drops beside him. He doesn't speak. He can't yet. His chest shakes with the aftershock of something that feels too big to name. His hand rises to his face almost in disbelief, fingertips brushing the dampness on his cheeks. Sonic notices. He doesn't say a word. He doesn't tease or poke or pry. He just shifts a little closer, not quite touching, but near enough that Shadow can feel the warmth radiating off him like the heartbeat of the stars. Shadow lets the tears fall, lets the joy move through him. He lets himself feel it all, and Sonic feels it too. And for the first time in 50 years, the future doesn't feel like something to fear. Not with Sonic by his side. At last, Sonic lets out a breathless laugh and throws himself into the grass, rolling once before flopping onto his back. The grass brushes his quills and arms, cool and damp with night dew. His chest heaves with laughter and effort, the link glowing warm inside him like a second heartbeat. Shadow slows, panting lightly, and drops down beside him. Not touching, not crowding. Just there. His presence a weight against the earth, grounding, real. They lie there in the dark, the sky stretching forever above them, the link between them buzzing soft and low, not demanding, not overwhelming. Just alive. Just present. Sonic closes his eyes, feeling the hum of energy stitched between them, the way it pulses through the soil and the stars and the spaces between them. He doesn't need to look at Shadow to know he feels it too. They sit together in the quiet aftermath, the hum of low chaos energy still buzzing faintly in the air around them. Sonic's gaze is focused ahead, eyes distant, his knees pulled to his chest. His voice breaks the silence, soft and unsure, like the question's been buried in him for days.
Shadow?
Shadow glances over, half-turned, his expression unreadable.
If you knew that all of this would happen, the link, the pain, the way we feel everything the other goes through, that we'd become whatever this is.
His throat tightens. He exhales slowly.
If you knew we'd become connected when we shared the emeralds, would you still have done it?
He doesn't want to feel the answer through the link. Not this time. So he focuses inward, forces the connection to quiet, like turning down a volume knob on something that normally floods him. He wants Shadow's answer, not the one that pulses through their link, the one spoken aloud. Shadow's eyes lower, his posture still and heavy. Sonic can't read him. The silence stretches so long it starts to hurt. Sonic almost wishes he hadn't asked. Shadow turns his head, looks at him fully. Their eyes meet, and without hesitation, his voice cuts through the stillness. Steady, certain.
Yes, I would do it all over again.
The words hit Sonic like a sudden gust of wind, warm, grounding, real. The link flickers back to life on its own, like a surge rising to meet that truth, no longer held back. It floods Sonic with emotion, not just his own, but Shadow's, acceptance, peace, something dangerously close to hope. Sonic's heart stumbles in his chest, then speeds up, fast and uneven. He lets out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Relief crashes through him like a wave, joy trailing in its wake. It pours into Shadow before Sonic can stop it, and he doesn't want to. Shadow closes his eyes, letting it wash over him. They just sit there, quiet and still, surrounded by the soft pulse of energy flowing between them. Connected. Shadow hasn't spoken, hasn't moved, just looks at him with eyes that are hard to read, calm but darkened, like there's still something locked away behind them. It twists. It makes something small and fragile curl in Sonic's chest. Their hands aren't connected anymore. Sonic's shoulders tighten, and he looks away from him. Somehow, their attempt to break the link hadn't worked. Shadow wants to let go, and he hadn't let him. The link was supposed to break, but he hadn't been able to do it even though he told Shadow he would let go. It's all his fault. The link was supposed to break. They had tried, but when the moment came, Sonic hadn't been able to do it. He said he would let go, said he'd make it easy, said he'd be ready. He wasn't. And now he's standing here, heart pounding, staring at Shadow's silence like it's a verdict. What if Shadow felt that hesitation? What if this silence is distance? Recoil? He has to say something.
I am sorry. I messed up.
And then it hits him. A sudden fierce warmth through the link. It bursts through his chest like sunlight breaking through thick clouds, flooding every corner of him with heat and certainty. It's not chaotic. It's not overwhelming. It's intentional. Controlled. It wraps around his ribs like an embrace without arms, quiet, steady, unmistakable. It hadn't been his fault that the link didn't break. Everything that Shadow wants to say but can't find the words for pouring unfiltered into him. Trust. Safety. Want. It drowns the doubt before it can fully take shape. Sonic's knees nearly give out. He gasps, breath hitching on instinct even though nothing touched him physically, but he feels it. Every pulse. Every flicker of knowing from Shadow's end of the thread. It keeps coming in waves. Warmth steady and grounding, like a heartbeat pressed close to his own. Not desperate. Not hesitant. Sure. Shadow doesn't say a word. He doesn't need to. Sonic knows. He knows. Shadow wants this. He's not letting go. Sonic's eyes burn. Not because of pain. Because of the relief. The emotion pouring through the thread is so strong it's hard to breathe. Like trying to hold sunlight in his chest. It doesn't hurt. It's heavy in a way that knocks the air from his lungs. He'd felt so unsure a moment ago. So small. Like if he moved wrong, if he said the wrong thing, the whole connection would dissolve. And this warmth, this certainty. It's his answer. The link between them pulses again, softer now. A steady thrum that settles behind Sonic's ribs like a second heartbeat. No urgency. No chaos. Just presence. A calm, grounded sense of,
I'm here. I choose this. I choose you.
Sonic's legs finally give out. He drops to his knees in the grass, trembling not from weakness, but from the sheer force of what he's feeling. The pressure eases with a shaky breath, and he presses a hand to his chest like he's trying to hold the link in place, trying to keep it there. Like if he lets go, it might all slip away. But it doesn't slip. It holds. Shadow's emotions stay steady through the link, sure and quiet and deep as the sky above them. No flickers of hesitation. No shadows of doubt. Just warmth unwavering. Sonic squeezes his eyes shut as another wave of feeling crashes over him. One that's so tender it makes his breath catch in his throat. There's awe in it. Gratitude. And something else. Something deeper.
I need you. I see you. I'll protect you. I trust you. I'm scared of losing you. But I want to stay.
Sonic's hands fall to the ground, fingers digging into the grass like he needs the earth to ground him. But he doesn't. Not really. Because he has the thread. He has Shadow. The grass brushes against his palms as he clutches at the earth. Then in a hoarse whisper,
You really want this? Are you sure?
Shadow doesn't speak at first. He simply walks forward and kneels in front of him. His hand lifts and rests over Sonic's chest, right where the thread hums alive and glowing. His voice, when it comes, is soft, low.
I've never been more sure of anything.
Sonic's breath stutters.
But I'm not easy to be around. I talk too much, and I mess things up. What if I mess this up?
Shadow doesn't flinch. He presses his palm more firmly against Sonic's chest.
Then we'll fix it.
Together, we can't fix our mistakes all on our own.
Sonic's eyes light up at his familiar words, words that he once spoke back on the moon. The night continues breathing around them. Cool air stirs the grass, whispering through the quiet, and the stars blink steadily overhead. Sonic shifts on his feet, taking a slow, cautious breath, and for the first time in what feels like forever, it doesn't hurt. The tightness that had gripped his chest for weeks is gone, melted away like frost under morning sun. His limbs feel lighter, his heartbeat steadier. He glances over at Shadow, studying him closely. Shadow is standing taller now, no longer weighed down by the exhaustion that used to pull at his every movement. There's a sharpness to him again, a steadiness Sonic had almost forgotten. His eyes, once clouded with fatigue, are clear, burning steady under the starlight.
You feel it too, right?
Sonic asks quietly, half afraid to break the fragile peace between them. Shadow closes his eyes for a moment, as if listening to something deep inside him. When he speaks, his voice is steady, certain.
I feel whole.
Sonic exhales a soft, shaky laugh, feeling the warmth of those words settle deep in his chest. He hadn't realized just how much Shadow's pain had been echoing inside him too, how their injuries had layered over one another like bruises that never had time to heal. But now the healing has caught up. Shadow's body, mended in the pod's quiet embrace. Their link no longer strained by weakness or fear. Their energies no longer tangled and frayed, but flowing together. Maybe all they had needed was a chance to heal. Sonic flexes his fingers at his sides and feels the subtle hum of power weaving through his veins. Not wild, not out of control. Just waiting for them. He looks back at Shadow, and from the faint quirk of Shadow's mouth, he knows Shadow feels it too. A slow golden shimmer begins to rise from Sonic's chest, swirling lazily around him like mist catching the first light of dawn. Across from him, a silver glow gathers at the edges of Shadow's form, threading through the night like a living promise. Sonic steps forward, and the earth barely seems to hold him anymore. His feet feel light, weightless, like the ground is ready to let him go whenever he chooses. The familiar rush of energy blooms higher, brighter, flooding his body with warmth and certainty. The power that had recently lain dormant for some reason, since they both became connected to each other, now hums at the edges of his fingertips, waiting for nothing more than trust and receiving it. He grins wide and breathless, feeling laughter bubble up in his chest. Shadow's eyes sharpen, his glow intensifying, and Sonic feels the link between them thrum alive again, not desperate, not painful but full of promise. Sonic leans forward slightly, heart hammering with exhilaration.
You ready?
Shadow gives a small nod, his voice low and sure.
Together.
And with that, they let go. The golden and silver light surge upward, wrapping around them both like twin streams of fire, lifting them into the sky. Their bodies burn brighter, shapes sharpening, their fur shifting to blazing gold and platinum white as their energy pours out in waves, painting the night around them. The stars blur and spin. The mountaintop falls away beneath them. For the first time, going super feels effortless. Natural. As easy as breathing. Sonic throws his head back and laughs, the sound tearing through the sky like thunder. They soar upward together, two meteors carving trails of light across the stars, stronger than they've ever been, because they are finally whole. Tom holds Sonic gently in his lap, one arm still wrapped around him. Maddie is seated close beside them, her hand resting over Sonic's. Sonic is awake now, staring at the pod behind them.
Do you think it was selfish that we kept the link? Especially now, with the emeralds inside us for good?
Tom looks down at him with calm, certain eyes.
No. That wasn't selfish. That was brave.
Maddie nods, her thumb brushing Sonic's glove.
You gave each other a choice. That's not selfish, Sonic. That's trust.
Sonic breathes in, slow and careful. Then he slips from Tom's lap and stands in front of the pod. Tom and Maddie get up too. He places both gloved hands on the glass, fingers splayed. Inside, Shadow begins to stir. His eyes flutter open, and the first thing he sees is Sonic's face, framed in the soft glow, looking back at him with a smile that's small and warm.
Told you I'd be the first thing you see.
Shadow blinks once, slowly, then fully focuses on him. He's already feeling much better. Sonic leans forward a little, pressing his palms more firmly to the pod.
Looks like you're stuck with us now, with me.
Through the link, a wave of warmth brushes against Sonic's heart, quiet and strong. It's not annoyance. It's not resistance. It's something much simpler. Shadow sends the feeling back with certainty. He doesn't feel stuck at all. And then his voice, quiet but real, echoes through the speaker above the pod as he lifts his hands to meet Sonic's from the other side of the glass.
I wouldn't have it any other way.